Hello everyone, today we'll be looking at something different from stock review and so on. This is more likely on identifying a trends for a particular sector in the US market, and specifically we'll be talking about the luxury brands, logos, branding companies such as Nike and Lululemon, and how they are actually experiencing downtrends and bear market in today's market. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So there is a lot of topic previously talking about why brand or logos company does not hold a strong position anymore is due to the fact that one is going to be tariffs. So this is one of the uncertainties of imposing tariffs, which can definitely affect the consumers rate and decrease the sales, and this will raise concerns on investors, so resulting in changing on transaction from this kind of a sector to a more stable sector such as consumer staples as well as other tech company which provide greater returns. At the same time, the reason why this kind of a stock company such as the Nike and Lululemon are experiencing in terms of downtrend is because people are actually moving their funds into AI trends or tech companies which provide larger returns. And I do also think that consumer nowadays are smarter. Instead of just buying Nike or Lululemon, which is very high quality but at the same time very expensive, people are now more focused on savings, invest their savings, as well as to find something that is cheaper alternatives which provides the same or similar functionality as the Nike as well as Lululemon. So I would say that the consumer nowadays are getting smarter. It does not mean that the Nike company itself does not actually work or perform well. It's just that the consumer nowadays know exactly what they want and understand the importance of functionalities and features compared to spending more money just for look, logo, brands to show off and so on. So let's look at some of the company, which is Nike. So this company has been experiencing huge drawdown, managed to bounce back off the 2015 and 2020 supports, and whether or not if this will go up is actually depends on whether or not if it will be able to break this resistance trend line. So another example is looking at Lululemon. Right now is sitting at the support level of 2018 as well as the previous drawdown of COVID. So this trend also shows a huge bearish trend, and also showing the fact that Lululemon actually starts to lose its economic moat, and also due to the fact of the impact from the tariffs itself. So another example is going to be the Crocs, whereby it also experienced a huge drawdown. However, for Crocs, the situation is slightly better compared to Nike and Lululemon, due to the fact we are in a raging formation instead of just huge drawdown immediately. However, this also shows that the company is able to hold on to its position. However, it's just a matter of time whether or not if this company can hold still and eventually not break. Lastly, is going to be our LVMH, whereby the company also is actually reflecting a better positions compared to Crocs as well as other company, and also is still currently in a downtrend. But whether or not if this company will continue going up further to create all-time highs, we will be looking at to see if it will be able to break this and return before going higher. So you might be wondering, the company might be in a position whereby they are not a strong economic mode. So we will be looking through their mod score for each of the company that we just reviewed. So for Nike, is being given the score of white mode by Morningstar, strong mode, white mode, and by the AI itself, it achieves 8.5 and 9, which also indicating a white mode. From a Lululemon, the situation is also quite similar, whereby they obtain white mode from Morningstar, as well as Guru Focus, positive white mode review from Seeking Alpha, an overall score of 8.5 from the AI, indicating a white mode. For LVMH, also being able to assign a white mode as well as overall score of 9.7, which is quite explainable for LVMH. Especially it can be reflected on the performance of the stock market. As for the Crocs, it's in a position whereby it has a less weak or weak narrow mode, and also overall score of 5.7, which explains the fact that Crocs does actually lose or does not have that strong economic mode compared to Nike as well as Lululemon in terms of their branding powers. So the fact that I want to point out is that despite the company is in a position of high or wide economic moat scores, or perhaps this update or the recent data is not accurate, but based on the Nike and Lululemon LVMH being a high quality stocks, there will be chances whereby the stock price of the company will drop, and it's actually showing like a bear market, or the market is actually losing confidence. The consumers or the investors are trying to ditch this kind of company and move on to the next or better quality companies. But how are we going to identify all these? So one thing my take is that for high quality stocks, it depends on trends. So for example, in today's era, for the recent years 2023 until now, the main topics is going to be cloud computing, AI, as well as technology. So that is why Google Meta has been the highest quality stocks that being able to perform well due to the fact they are matching the trends as well as providing the expectation of today's market. Whereas for LVMH, Nike, Lululemon, they will be able to keep on generating good profits. However, their products or their trends is more towards the past. My take is that for this branding or logo dependent company, it's just that they will be able to provide that strong profit generating machines. However, they are just not, or they start to lose their strengths in this very competitive market as investors are more prone towards tech company as well as other better investments compared to just holding on to this Nike and hoping that one day it will become a trend again. And also especially for this kind of branding, it's just that as I mentioned, investors or consumers are getting smarter. They are more prone toward finding something or cheaper alternatives which provides similar functionality as their replacement. So for brandings like Nike and Lululemon, it just does not make sense anymore other than buying to show off, or if you have extra money and you can actually have a lot of these kind of luxury items, but it's just not necessary for most of the people nowadays, which starts to have this kind of a mindset of saving and investing. So I guess that is all for today's video. It's a very direct representation of it's important to know the current trend of today's market. I do understand that the fact this kind of company, they do generate good profits. However, it just does not make any sense because investors right now are seeing better opportunities out there. For example, Google, Nvidia, Amazon's, which can provide better returns compared to this. Yes, you can actually buy and hold, saying that one day the trend will come back, but who knows if it's going to come tomorrow, next year, or next 50 years. So I guess that depends on a individual and the amount of research that you do, and as well as the amount of risk that you are willing to take in terms of investing. But for me right now, the situation is branding companies that are very dependent on logos as well as brands just does not make sense anymore, because as a consumer myself, I do think that buying all these luxury items is not very necessary. As long as I can find cheaper alternatives providing similar functionalities, I'm good with it. Unless I have extra cash, of course, to buy most of this as collection. So I guess that is all for today's video. And if you are interested to look into this topic, there are actually quite wide variety of people talking about this trend, observations. But whether or not if this is really the case, but maybe like next year the stock market of Nike or Lulu will go up eventually, but who knows, right? So I guess that is all for today's video. Please do your due diligence before investing in any company, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Goodbye.